Let's start with the bad news. Art is pretentious. I see that word over and over in the comments, directed at artists, at art in general, and at those who talk about art and think it's cool. It's most often said in response to art that is conceptual or really abstract or doesn't look like it took a lot of work to create. In our video on Yoko Ono, a commenter says the art is pretentious. In our video on minimalism, a commenter writes that it's interesting. Minimalism is always pretentious garbage. And in our I Could Do That video, someone else shares that modern art is pretentious and it's created by lazy, untalented, unartistic bastards for elites who will shell out for them to show how deep and artistic they are. Let's consider these comments with the definition of pretentious in mind. One of them attempting to impress by affecting greater importance, talent, culture, etc., than what is actually possessed. So, if it's artists who are referred to as pretentious, then yes, artists regularly try to impress with the effect of more importance, talent, and culture than what is actually possessed. Actually, it's the step you have to take to create something. It's your crazy hope that you could go from not knowing how to do something to doing something, and then doing it well enough to share with other people. The creative process I've experienced is generally punctuated by insecurity, frustration and pain interspersed with burning moments of love at making something you think is half decent, followed by the need to summon playful amounts of confidence in order to share that thing with other people, and ending with nights of hope as you immediately and then forever wonder if you're a fraud and your work is terrible no matter how many people say they like it, or that no one seems to like it and you have to believe they're wrong, or that the next thing you make might be good and you keep going because you still have that tenacious desire to make the things you make. I'm generalizing, of course, but every artist I know is really brave. You don't know if something you make is good until you put it out there, and even if you do, it's hard to know. Of course you want to impress other people with it. Do it until you make it applies to almost all fields, and certainly art is one of them. The successful artists I've met have this unstoppable need to keep doing, no matter what their inner voice or current voice tells them. Now, if it's art that's closed off as tenacious, then I have to agree with that too. Art is made of a lot of random stuff, objects, materials, substances, sounds, and movements that are often not expensive and have no inherent value outside of the cost of the materials. Through some kind of alchemical process, artists take these things and transform them into something else, endowing them with meaning and value that doesn't exist within the materials. Sometimes these processes are very laborious, and sometimes they don't take long but are still moving, at least to you. These clumps of materials are impressing you, despite the fact that they are made only of trees, dirt, water, and their derivatives. So yes, art is tenacious. More bad news. The only difference between expensive art and inexpensive art is the name and reputation. That's another theme picked up in the comments. One person responded to me that I could do that by saying that even if I had created these more simplistic pieces of art, they would not be worth millions of dollars. And that's mostly true. Because of the aforementioned situation, where clumps of materials are trying to impress us, the price of the art market is heavily, if not entirely, determined by perception. Take this striped painting by Audrey Stone, on sale for the equivalent of about $4,700 in the US. And compare it to this striped Bridget Riley painting, sold at auction last year for the equivalent of about €1 million in the US. Riley's painting is considerably larger than Stone's, and size is considerable in art sales, but not at that level. The reason why Riley's paintings sell for so much is that Riley has been creating abstract works in this field since the 1960s, when she was part of the influential Responsive Eye at MoMA in 1965. She has since been internationally recognized. Her name is synonymous with the op art movement, and for the past 50 years, Riley has used lines, shapes, and colors to develop movement and create compelling optical effects. Audrey Stone is younger than Bridget Riley, and while she has been included in a fair number of exhibitions, she has not achieved the same level of fame, at least not yet. Riley also has a record of auction posters that demonstrate to collectors that the price, no matter how ridiculous, has a rationale. This record also shows that it will probably hold its value, if not increase it. You may think Audrey Stone's painting is better, but that is irrelevant to the monetary value of the work. There is more demand for Riley's work, and that is why it will fetch higher prices in galleries and auctions. Riley's work also has a history, like the gold sunglasses, or the gold sunglasses, unless they are the gold sunglasses that Elvis killed. There are arguments you can make for why Audrey Stone's painting is objectively better than Audrey Stone's, but quality determinations, for me, don't stay on solid ground. There's taste, trend, and hype that give a work value, as well as systemic sexism and racism, and these factors are always changing. And on that subject, the art market is a scam perpetuated by the rich to borrow money. That is also a sentiment echoed in our comments, and that is also sometimes true. Adam Ruins Everything did an episode where he described the art market as a huge price-fixing system that benefits rich collectors and excludes artists. He points out that even those who donate their works to public museums don't necessarily do so out of the kindness of their hearts, but because it can be a huge tax write-off. But the art market is not synonymous with art, and in fact, there are many excellent contemporary artists who skirt the market and critique how market forces affect the value of art. Think of the Guerrilla Girls, or William Pawita, or Banksy. There is a lot more to the experience of art today than the cute aspects of the market. The art market Adam describes may dominate or seem to dominate your experience of art in a few major cities. But in the rest of the world, and even in less fancy areas of those same big cities, there is a lot of art going on completely separately from the forces of the dark art market. No one gets rich on the other side of the art world, but on the upside, no one gets rich. In undeniable news, people are open to art. You might be surprised to hear that. The haters will hate it, but most of the time the comments on our videos are positive. Our case for our videos presents an argument for why you should care or pay attention to an individual artist or genre of art. And to my surprise, we managed to convince a few people. "Okay, I'll accept your case for Yoko Ono," said one commentor. Another said, "Okay, fine, I won't hate on Yoko Ono." And another said, "If you keep making these videos, I won't have any artists to hate." My favorite moments come when the video doesn't bother you, but you're still really cool. Like the comment, "I appreciate the positivity of these videos. I really hate Yoko Ono's art, but I'm glad there are people who are willing to defend it." Or, "I don't like minimalism, I just like the aesthetic." But those are good points and I can get behind those 100% of artists. I mean, that's almost better than praise. It means you considered what was said, approached it with openness, but also trusted your judgment in the face of it, while accepting, even embracing, the contrasting views of others. But even or especially when people are bad at disagreeing, I find solace in the fact that people care about art. Of course, this can manifest in agonizing, inevitable comments, but when someone says, "I hate modern art with a passion," I find myself oddly reassured that the person cares about anything. In my museum work, I often fear that even if the galleries have people in them, what's going on in their heads? Are they just there walking from art to art at a pace they hope won't give them away and thinking only about food? Even if it's me sometimes. When I hear the anguish, I hear that people have firm ideas about what art is, or at least what they think it is.